'Cause I got time while she's got freedom. 'Cause when our heart breaks.
In one of the most talked about moments of America's Got Talent Season 20, Jourdan Blue, a soulful singer from New Orleans, stepped onto the stage with a quiet humility that belied the storm of emotion he was about to unleash. The cameras caught the subtle tremor in his hands, the cautious smile, and the deep breath before the first note left his lips. What followed was a breathtaking rendition of Break Evened by the Script, a performance so raw and emotionally charged that it silenced the packed theater within seconds. Blue's voice didn't just hit the notes, it told a story of hardship and hope, each lyric echoing with years of struggle. Judges leaned forward in their seats, eyes fixed on the young man pouring his heart into the microphone. By the final chorus, the room was transformed, audience members on their feet, tears in their eyes, and an unmistakable electricity in the air. Then, in a moment that would define Blue's career, Howie Mandel slammed the golden buzzer, triggering a cascade of gold confetti as Jourdan collapsed to his knees, overcome by emotion. Social media exploded almost instantly. Clips of his audition spread across TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, amassing millions of views within hours. Fans called him the best singer they've ever heard, praising not only his technical ability, but the vulnerability that came through in every note. For Jourdan, this wasn't just an audition. It was a public validation of years of sacrifice, resilience, and belief in a dream that had often felt just out of reach. And for viewers, it was the first glimpse into a story that was far more complex than a single performance. While millions now know Jourdan Blue as the golden buzzer sensation, few realize that the voice which captivated a nation was forged in the fire of personal hardship. Born and raised in the vibrant yet challenging streets of New Orleans, Jourdan grew up in a household with a police officer mother and a lawyer father, an environment that might suggest stability, yet for him felt increasingly restrictive as he searched for his own identity. His passion for music emerged early, nurtured in family gatherings, church choirs, and school theater productions. But life soon took a sharp and unforgiving turn. As a teenager, a series of conflicts led to his expulsion from school and a painful estrangement from his immediate family, leaving him to fend for himself with nowhere to call home. Nights were spent sleeping on the couches of friends when available, or huddled in workplace corners after hours, and in the harshest times, on the cold tiles of public restrooms. Each day was a balancing act between survival and sanity, with music serving as the only constant, a lifeline he clung to when the rest of the world seemed determined to break him. These were the moments that shaped the grit behind his voice, infusing every note he sang with lived experience. While others might have seen only a homeless teen with fading prospects, Jourdan saw test, a trial that would one day become the fuel for his art. He didn't know when or how his break would come, but deep down, he refused to believe that his story would end in defeat. What the world heard on the AGT stage was not just a performance. It was the sound of survival, the echo of countless nights when music was the only thing keeping him from falling apart completely. Long before Jourdan Blue's voice echoed through the America's Got Talent stage, it resonated in much smaller, more intimate spaces. Growing up in New Orleans, a city where music seeps from the walls and spills onto every street corner, Jourdan was surrounded by sound and rhythm from the start. As a child, he would often sing at family gatherings, earning smiles and nods from relatives who recognized something special in his tone even then. His church choir became his first true stage, a place where he learned how to blend power with emotion, while high school theater productions taught him presence, projection, and the courage to perform before an audience. Yet despite this early immersion in music, Jourdan never fully considered it a realistic career path. His parents, disciplined and ambitious in their own right, a police officer mother, and a lawyer father, valued stability, education, and structure. Music, to them, was a hobby, a pastime, not a livelihood. Jourdan felt the invisible weight of those expectations pressing in, his creative spark clashing against a home life that left little room for exploration outside the approved path. Even as he honed his voice in choirs and plays, he quietly stored away his bigger dreams, unsure if they would ever see the light of day. This tension between obligation and passion became a quiet undercurrent in his youth, one that would later erupt when personal and family conflicts pushed him out of the house. Looking back, those early experiences didn't just shape his voice. They planted the seeds of the artist he would become, one whose music would forever carry the mix of beauty and ache that only New Orleans can inspire. The turning point in Jourdan Blue's life came not in the spotlight, but in the shadows, during a time when his future seemed uncertain and his dreams felt impossibly far away. After his expulsion from school and the painful rift with his family, Jourdan found himself drifting from one temporary refuge to another, piecing together survival with whatever resources he could find. The streets of New Orleans were both home and hazard, offering the constant hum of music in the distance, but no guarantee of safety. Nights spent on friends' couches gave way to lonelier stays in workplaces after closing, and in the most desperate moments, the cold anonymity of public restroom stalls. It was a cycle that could have swallowed him whole, but then came the lifeline, his grandfather John. Opening his door and his heart, John offered Jourdan not just a bed, but stability, guidance, and the quiet reassurance that someone still believed in him. It was under this roof that Jourdan began to rebuild. With the chaos of survival momentarily paused, he turned inward, pouring his thoughts and pain into lyrics, his voice becoming the diary he never wrote on paper. Music wasn't just an outlet. It was therapy, a way to process the anxiety and lingering wounds of those lost years. He began writing original songs that carried his truth in every line, shaping a sound that was unapologetically raw and personal. This period didn't erase the struggles he had endured, but it transformed them into fuel, proving that even the deepest lows can give rise to something powerful if you refuse to let them define you. Before Jourdan Blue's voice reached millions through America's Got Talent, it had already brushed against the national stage, though most people never knew it. Years earlier, he auditioned for the legendary singing competition American Idol, stepping in front of producers with the same vulnerability and dedication that would later define his AGT moment. His performance was heartfelt, steeped in emotion, and carried the weight of the struggles he had endured. Those who heard it in the room recognized his talent, yet when the season aired, Jourdan's audition was nowhere to be found. For many aspiring artists, such an omission can be a crushing blow, the kind that silences ambition and confirms the fear that the industry's doors are locked to all but the lucky few. But Jourdan took a different view. Instead of dwelling on the disappointment, he treated the experience as a private lesson in resilience. He learned firsthand that television success depends on forces beyond an artist's control, that great performances can vanish in the edit room, and that recognition is never guaranteed, no matter the effort. It was a humbling reminder that the road to a music career is unpredictable, often brutal, and rarely linear. Rather than breaking his resolve, the missed moment on Idol sharpened it. He left that chapter determined not to hinge his future on one opportunity or one show. This was the unseen rehearsal for the resilience he would later display on AGT. The proof that sometimes the performances that matter most are the ones no one ever sees, because they teach you how to keep going when the applause never comes. After his quiet disappointment on American Idol, Jourdan Blue made a choice that would redefine his artistry and connection with audiences. He took his music to the streets of New Orleans. Armed with little more than his voice, a microphone, and a portable speaker, he turned sidewalks, street corners, and park benches into his stage. This wasn't just about earning tips. It was about reaching people directly, without the filters of television producers or the constraints of industry gatekeepers. Passers-by who expected to hear casual background music instead found themselves stopped in their tracks by a voice that seemed far too big for the pavement beneath his feet. His soulful tone, emotional delivery, and unwavering authenticity drew small crowds that often stayed long after they planned to leave. Many pulled out their phones, capturing performances and sharing them online, where the clips began to spread far beyond New Orleans. Some videos racked up thousands of views, then millions, slowly building a fan base that cared as much about his story as his songs. These street performances became more than a means of survival. They were his training ground, teaching him how to hold attention in noisy, unpredictable environments, and how to connect with listeners on a deeply human level. By the time he stepped onto the AGT stage, Jourdan was no stranger to performing under pressure. He had already faced down countless strangers, winning them over note by note. The streets had taught him a crucial lesson. If you can make someone stop and feel something in the middle of their busy day, you can move an audience anywhere. Away from the stage lights and viral videos, Jourdan Blue's life is grounded by a quiet but powerful force: his family. In a revelation that might surprise fans who romanticize the image of a lone, struggling artist, Jourdan is not single. He shares his life with his longtime partner, Christina, whose unwavering support has been a constant through both his lowest moments and his recent surge to fame. Together, they are raising their young son, Jax, who has become the heartbeat of Jourdan's world and the driving reason behind his relentless pursuit of success. Fatherhood, he says, has transformed his perspective, giving him a deeper sense of purpose and a renewed commitment to stability, something he once lacked in his own life. Every note he sings, every late night spent refining his craft, carries the weight of wanting to build a better future for his family. On stage, he often dedicates songs to them, infusing his performances with an intimacy and sincerity that fans can feel. Balancing a rapidly growing career with the demands of parenthood is no small feat, but Jourdan approaches it with humility and gratitude, always mindful that his achievements are not his alone, they're shared victories. Christina's faith in him and Jax's innocent pride are reminders of what truly matters beyond fame or fortune. In interviews and social media posts, Jourdan's love for his family radiates, making him not only a talented artist, but also a relatable figure whose journey is as much about personal redemption as it is about professional triumph. Long before millions discovered Jourdan Blue through his Golden Buzzer AGT audition, he had already been steadily building a powerful digital presence that served as both his portfolio and his personal diary. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube became his virtual stage, each video offering an unfiltered glimpse into his voice, his craft, and his life behind the music. While many artists chase perfection through heavily produced clips, Jourdan leaned into authenticity, posting raw street performances, casual singing sessions from his home, and heartfelt reflections on his journey. This honesty resonated deeply with viewers, particularly on TikTok, where his account grew to more than 600,000 followers. He didn't just sing to the internet. He talked to it, replying to comments, answering questions, and sharing stories that made fans feel like they knew him personally. This two-way connection turned casual viewers into loyal supporters who championed him even before AGT brought him into the mainstream spotlight. His online strategy wasn't calculated in the corporate sense. It was built on genuine engagement, consistency, and a willingness to be vulnerable in a space that often rewards curated perfection. By the time his audition went viral, Jourdan's digital community was ready, amplifying the moment across platforms and ensuring that his story reached far beyond the show's audience. In the modern music industry, social media is often the great equalizer, and Jourdan's mastery of it proved that talent paired with authenticity can cut through the noise, open doors, and create opportunities that once seemed impossible. With the dust still settling from his life-changing AGT audition, Jourdan Blue is already looking ahead, determined to transform his moment of viral fame into a lasting music career. His vision is clear: to release original songs that are as emotionally charged and authentic as the performances that first drew audiences to him. Drawing heavily from his own life experiences, Jourdan plans to craft an album that not only resonates on the charts, but also leaves a lasting emotional impact on listeners. He's expressed a strong interest in collaborating with artists who share his dedication to raw, heartfelt storytelling, naming influences like her, Khaled, and James Blake as dream partners. Beyond music, Jourdan's ambitions stretch into advocacy. He wants to leverage his platform to raise awareness about mental health, especially among young people and aspiring creatives who might be battling the same anxiety and self-doubt he has faced. He has spoken about his desire to launch a foundation dedicated to helping homeless youth, offering both shelter and resources for those pursuing careers in the arts. Performing on global stages, headlining festivals, and connecting with fans around the world are all part of the roadmap he envisions. But fame itself is not the end goal. For Jourdan, the measure of success will be in making a difference, using his voice not just to entertain, but to inspire, empower, and give back to the communities that shaped him. Even with the world now watching, he remains grounded, frequently thanking his supporters and reminding them that their belief in him is what made this journey possible. In the end, Jourdan Blue's story is not just about a golden buzzer moment or a viral edition. It's a testament to the unshakable resilience that can turn life's hardest blows into the fuel for something extraordinary. From the streets of New Orleans to one of the biggest stages in the world, his path has been marked by homelessness, rejection, and uncertainty, yet also by the unwavering belief that his voice had a purpose. That belief carried him through nights spent in public restrooms, through the disappointment of a vanished American Idol audition, and into the grit of busking to strangers who would one day become fans. It anchored him through the quiet, grounding love of his partner Christina and the life-changing role of fatherhood to his son Jax. It inspired him to connect authentically with hundreds of thousands online, turning social media into both a megaphone and a lifeline. And it now drives his vision for a future where music and advocacy go hand in hand. Jourdan's journey reminds us that what moves people is not just talent. It's the fight behind it, the scars beneath the surface, and the courage to keep singing even when no one is listening. For every viewer who watched that AGT performance and felt something stir inside, Jourdan Blue is proof that extraordinary dreams can be born from the hardest battles, and that sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones still being written.